This episode of We Like Shooting Double Tap is brought to you by Swamp Fox Optics, Black Rhino Concealment, Polymer 80, SDI, and the Patriot Patch Company.
Welcome to We Like Shooting Double Tap, episode 158, where we answer your questions, ask a few of our own, and touch base on gun industry news. The panel tonight is Jeremy Paz, Derek, the Machine Gun Moses, Aaron Krieger, Nick Lynch. My name's Sean Herron. Our guest panelist is Sean Maloney from Second Call Defense. Let's go ahead and get right into it. All right. And dramatic fade of the music. Here we go. I'm doing it manually because there's still 13 seconds and it just didn't last very long. And there we go. Aaron.
Doesn't seem very dramatic.
Isn't that what she said? It was just 13 seconds. You didn't last very long.
That's like 4 times the amount I normally last. What are you talking about? Aaron, what's up?
Nothing. I'm awake.
Yeah, you seem like you were falling asleep a little bit.
I was, but now I'm awake.
Okay, are you? So,
Now.
Aaron, we talked before the show about setting up like a web-enabled dog shock collar. Mm-hmm. Would you be down with that?
How much money do I make on this deal?
Money. Okay. We'll pay you $1 every time you get shocked.
Done.
Really?
Dude, you know how many people are going to be pushing that button?
Yeah. I mean,
it'll be like watching one of those videos we hear ding.
But it has to be on a max shock on your neck, directly over the voice box.
How about the back of the neck? Because it feel like kind of a
massage. Like charging people $20 a shot. He gets $1, and We Like Shooting gets 19. What a deal!
Here $20 a shot. It gives them a password where they can shock Aaron, and everyone gets $1, and we donate like $5 to the Cancel Culture Alliance of America.
Right.
I don't think that's a thing.
Man,
you can shock him at any time. You don't have to do it when he's on the air.
Oh.
Well,
that's a grocery store.
How do you know I'll have it on though?
Well, it'll be like a collar that they put on people for in-home incarceration.
Yes.
Because we'll know it's off.
Yes. I'm loving this idea more and more.
Well, also, those things detect alcohol, so you got to stay sober, so you can't be drunk when they shock you, so you can feel 100% of the pain.
Also, if this happened, the entire power grid for the northeast corner of the U.S. would go down.
It'd be
definitely.
like with Griswold.
Yeah. So anyway, definitely check out and donate to my new charitable foundation, the Cancel Culture Organization of America.
Oh, not to go yourself one?
No, not that one.
Okay.
Sean Maloney, what's up?
I'm so happy to be here. I can hardly contain my joy.
Dude, it's been a while. We're so glad to have you here. We've got tons of questions, and we'll get to those in just a minute. Before we do anything else, we're going to do an ad read, and then we'll get right into it, man. Nick, should we start off with Swamp Fox or Black Rhino?
Ooh, both animals.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's such a tough call. I don't know. You decide.
All right, Swamp Fox, since I've got one sitting right here.
Okay, Swamp Fox.
This is a Kingslayer, right? Don't you have one over there, too?
Yeah, I've got one over here.
Yeah. These are the Kingslayers. They actually just came out with the Liberty and the Justice, which are the newer red dot pistol sights, and they've got the 20mm and 27mm lens. Depending on both those, they're twins, basically. Just one's a little bit chubbier than the other one. And they're pretty awesome so far. They got Shake Awake, 50,000 hour battery life, and so far I'm really liking it. You've messed with it a bit at the range and also at SHOT Show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty baller. So Liberty and Justice. The Sentinel is out, which fits the RMSC cut, which is the real small one. I've actually got small, SMOL small, and pretty awesome stuff. So go save a lot of money by using coupon code WLS's Life at swampfoxoptics.com. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the first segment, which is called Wacky Weapons. Aaron, what did you Google for us today?
The Landstead 1900.
Okay, what is it?
It's a automatic revolver.
What's that?
It's a gun that looks like a revolver. And it has a magazine that goes up the side. So
All right.
it runs off 2 chambers, and what happens is you pull the trigger, a round goes off, the chamber flips.
The cylinder.
The cylinder flips after it ejects the cartridge, and then the magazine pushes it into the empty cylinder, and the secondary cylinder already has a round in it. and it continues the process until the magazine is now empty.
God, I love all this stuff from like the late early 1900s where people were trying to figure out how to make auto-loading firearms.
Yeah. This one is pretty cool, actually. So, yeah, I mean, the magazine sits on the left side of the grip, or the magazine is the left side of the grip, and the cylinder's flat. It's only got the bottom and the top, and it actually flips as part of it, and then the top cycles and ejects the brass, and then flips again once the mag loads it into the bottom cylinder again. It's just weird. Sean Maloney, have you ever seen one of those?
No, I was going to say it looks European, almost like it looks German.
Yeah, what? Aaron, where's it from?
France.
France. Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's Norwegian, Norway.
It's like it's basically France from the north of France, North France.
Is it? Jeremy, you're muted.
It literally says Norwegian in this article.
It does. So it's from Norwegia.
It's made in Denmark.
So I did actually. There's the Webley Fosbury automatic revolver. It's a little bit similar, but this one's kind of funkier because it does have just that two chamber cylinder that's flat that flips up and around. I don't know. This one's actually kind of cool. I couldn't find any video.
Yeah, but a Webley Fosbury is an actual revolver. It's not.
Yeah,
correct.
How is that similar, Sean? How?
Look, Forgotten Weapons.
Explain it to us, Sean.
Yeah, is it a 1911 derivative, Sean? Come on.
Explain it to us.
It's cycles and it's a revolver.
All right. Yep. Cancel culture.
I mean, all revolvers cycle. Like the cylinder cycles around.
Okay, here. Let me show you the Webley Fosbury action. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Webley Fosbury uses tracks in the outside of the cylinder.
Like crisscross applesauce.
Yeah, and the whole top half slides.
Check this out. This is the Webley Fosbury. The Fosberries taste like Fosberries.
Schnozberries.
I know.
He was making a joke. Make better jokes.
Look at it.
Look at it.
Look at it.
It's so cool.
It's kind of interesting.
It's very interesting. Neural.
So, yeah. What is it? The Landscape?
I want one of those. I love those old Webley revolvers.
It is
so
really
cool.
cool, yeah.
They're very handsome.
I kind of want the...
Yeah, not even the Webley Fosbury, just the old Webleys.
Yeah. Any of them.
Yeah, they're very handsome. It's a good word for it.
I really do. I kind of want one of the Landstat 1900s.
It's also very interesting.
Like, I look at it and think they didn't need the cylinder. They didn't need the flipping cylinder. If they could figure out a way to do it without it.
Well, that's a problem of being too caught up in
Current tech.
in the current technology and trying to, when something like the 1903 Colt pocket pistol or the C96 Mauser broom handle. Oh my God. This is amazing. This is like your mind's blown.
But this is like the bridge, right? They were like magazine technology, revolver technology, like trying to figure out the way to get it up into the top. And they were like, you know what? We'll flip it. It'll be like an elevator for your bullet.
It's like being stuck on modern technology and trying to shoehorn it advancing modern technology instead of coming up with new technology.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's neat. It's cool, but it's like the volcanic.
Yeah, it's a cool
bastard
sign of its times. I don't know if that's the right.
I mean, when you talk about innovation and stuff, it's very infrequent to be big leaps. It's more just baby steps like this is.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of stuff from this time that isn't necessarily old technology. It's just really fucking weird technology that somebody dreamed up.
Yeah.
And it didn't work, but there was this little element that somebody else took and, played with, and that didn't work either. But that with this went on to make that, and yeah, that's why I like this era is so cool, some of this stuff.
Yeah. I read a book like Guns of the World or something when I'm having trouble sleeping, and it has a bunch of stuff like this. It probably has this in it. I'm just not that far yet. It's a coffee table book. Have you ever seen it?
I don't know. I have seen similar.
I have what is it called? It's like the Encyclopedia of Pistols and Revolvers.
I think I have that one too. Actually, it has
it's a good book.
Yeah, brown blueprints on the cover.
I don't know. It's over there. I go grab it.
It is pretty cool. So anyway, the Landsat 1900. I think we all just want one, basically. I couldn't find any video of it firing anywhere.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Oh, they might not have an actual working model anywhere.
Yeah, that's true too.
Okay,
Like,
someone make one.
Sure, one survived, but is it a working model? And do they even make the cartridge that weirdo thing shot?
There actually is one because Forgotten Weapons. He's sitting
Yeah, it was
talking about
It
one.
was a standard cartridge of the time. It was
I know.
like a 7.2 something.
You're super quiet, Aaron.
It was like a 7.2 or something.
When you say standard cartridge at the time, doesn't mean dude.
Well, it does for the time.
Aaron, what's a standard cartridge? What are other standard cartridges at the time?
Well, for a standard cartridge
Just
of our
kidding.
time, it's like 9mm, 45.
7.5 millimeter Nagant ammunition.
Yeah, which is pretty standard at the time.
A common caliber in that time and place.
Yeah, that's what I said.
All right.
Jesus.
He did. He did say that.
Nitpick some more.
He said common at the time.
Landsat 1900. Pretty cool. Aaron, remember when...
I'm going to Google search 7.5 millimeter Nagant for sale and see if anything pops up.
Yeah,
I'm going to
well,
do it right now.
Why don't you go back 130 years
go back
ago?
in 1900 or whenever it was made and Google it then, and then stick that Google answer up your ass.
Okay.
And,
And then go past the gate.
and then vomit it out and tell me what it looks like.
Sounds
Does it
cool.
look like corn? Do you see corn?
Sounds great.
'Cause I bet we'll see corn.
Do you smell popcorn?
Ooh, I have some caramel corn upstairs.
Hey, Aaron, do you remember when we talked about like the Spencer and Chaz thing?
Yes.
Okay, well, so we're
Hey,
moving
wait.
on.
Jeremy, I love you. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay, we're moving on. So anyway, listener Corey P, he actually did record a thing for us, and I'm going to play it now. So this is from a couple episodes ago.
And here we go. We like shooting in the morning with Spencer. And Chaz.
You are one pathetic loser.
And you're in
The Autonomous Zone.
We like shooting in the morning with Spencer. Nom 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 nom. And Chaz.
It makes me laugh every time. Thank you for recording that, Corey. It's amazing. Absolutely love it. All right, well, I guess it's just about time to get to some questions.
My question is, did you find any, Jeremy? Or is any of that ammo available today?
I found one website that is showing some old pictures of it. Turns out it's actually a healed cartridge. And
As in, it was sick, but now it's healed.
No,
it's not
healed.
by it. It
You could
actually heals the
fire
wound.
it, and then you could be like heal, and the bullet would actually slow down.
Stay by your side.
Yeah,
Right behind you. Not in front of you.
Yeah.
Just right behind you.
No, healed as in the bullet is the same diameter as the case. The bullet does not press into the case. It's like a 22 long rifle where the case actually like crimps the bottom of the bullet.
I like mine better. You're like, man,
mine is
I pulled that
actually what
shot.
it is.
I pulled that shot. Heal.
Yeah.
Or like my what?
Aaron
James
just-
Allen. That's funny.
Oh wait, no, click that one.
Yeah, here. That's pretty funny. Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll play that every single time. Black Rhino Concealment, Nick, talk about him.
Black Rhino Concealment. So as you guys know, rhinoceri are an endangered species. So Black Rhino Consolement, Black Rhino Concealment is actually an organization that conceals wild rhinos to protect them from poachers. Yeah, they also have a sister company called Black Rhino Consolement, who console and offer counseling for rhinos whose family members have been poached.
That was so much time spent on a joke. Now talk about the actual gun.
I can spend more. Yeah, they make holsters and neat things out of kydex, like magazine carriers or those tourniquet carriers you were just holding up.
I think these are
is that what that
mags.
was?
These are mags.
Oh, those are the mag
But they
carriers.
do make tourniquet.
They do. They make tourniquet carrier holster things. I don't know why I'm doing this motion.
I don't know either.
Yeah, some awesome holsters.
It's because you're so used to using your shake weight.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've been working out a lot.
Have you?
Yeah, all by myself.
You should sue your trainer.
He is me. Yeah, they're a fantastic company. They've supported us for a long time.
I agree.
We've been very pleased with their work.
You could actually even get custom stuff printed on anything that you get. So
I have a sweet holster that has Taylor Swift all over it. And just like we have been quite pleased with their work, they have been quite pleased with our work up until this precise moment.
Up until just right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
Black Rhino Consolement.com. No. Black Rhino Concealment.com. Coupon code WLSMOFO saves you 10% off all day, every day. It's time for questions.
Burn when you pee? Unsure about your relationship? Why can't you use 45 in a 9mm? Get your questions answered on hashtag DearWLS. Visit WeLikeShooting.com/DearWLS to submit your question.
All right. So since we knew Sean Maloney was going to be here, he's going to hang out with us tonight. I posted it in our cult group, which you can get access to if you join the cult, theguncult.com. And just if they had any questions, and they had a ton of questions. So, excuse me, Sean, SED still alive, kicking, strong as ever?
Yep, strong, kicking, stronger than ever. We now own our own insurance company, so Lloyd's of London and everybody else can't dictate who we cover and how we cover them. So we have our own captive. So that's the big news, and we're rolling that out right now. Took a while to create it. The insurance industry is so heavily regulated that it took a lot of time. And so, but we got it done, and we got it done in time for to kick it off really tonight.
That's so huge. Like, that's been a thing that's been affecting like all the companies for quite a while, and like you guys too. And I can't even imagine how much work goes into that.
It took a long time. We probably 2 years ago we first tried to start figuring out, and it was kind of new in the United States for a lot of people. But then all of a sudden, when of course Lockton Affinity sided with the NRA and went with them, so we lost them. Then Dual Commercial decided after the shootings in Florida that they didn't want to be in the gun business anymore. And actually, Lloyd's of London informed us about a year ago that they were getting out of everything to do with the gun business. So I never thought gun violence in America would cause Lloyd's of London to stop their coverage programs based on the amount of money they made. I mean, Second Call Defense, we had paid them, I think, over $5 million in revenue, and we never filed a claim because our foundation paid for everything and never got it to the reimbursement stage for Lloyd's of London. So that was ridiculous. I mean, that was easy money for them, but they decided that they didn't want to do it. So now we can protect our members better, be in control of everything, and not have to look down the road and worry about what might happen.
Yeah, because if you brought something to them and they, for some reason, decided that it wasn't eligible, then the foundation's just out that money. But now that you guys actually have that captive as well, like, you guys decide what to cover and what not to cover, correct?
Right, that's correct. We always decided what to cover and what not to cover, but now we can decide on both ends, will it be a reimbursement for the foundation?
Right, yeah, I guess that's what I meant, yeah.
We had no control over. We represented a gentleman in California, stroked him a $100,000 check. He shot his neighbor in self-defense. It was on film, but being in California and Santa Clarita County, he was charged with capital murder.
Jeez, wow.
67 years old, living on film. He was acquitted of everything but 2 gun charges because he had a semi-automatic firearm that had an illegal hollow point in it, and the jury was hung on that. And he didn't want to risk going to trial and doing 10 years for each of those charges, so he pled to 2 years. And he'll be out soon. But, so it was a huge victory for us, but we don't get reimbursed for that because he wasn't acquitted of everything. And that's the ridiculous part of it for the insurance companies. That's how they got rich. But we still cover everybody and have been doing it on a regular basis.
Dang, crazy. All right, so going through some of these questions, Matthew S. says, and I think I answered this already, but a lot of people ask it. So it says, will SCD help you if you hit someone with your vehicle while trying to escape being mobbed so that you don't have to pull your gun?
That was interesting. And it's funny, you guys, think about how far we've came. Nobody had any kind of protection or coverage for someone that was forced to use a firearm in self-defense. It didn't exist until us and USCCA kind of started at about the same time. And now people want coverage for running people over with the cars. And certainly I wish we could cover that, but right now, the only coverage that we provide is someone who uses a firearm in self-defense, whether it's brandishing, an accidental discharge, or using your firearm in self-defense. So we don't specifically cover that at this time, but he should realize also that his car insurance will cover things like that. So he has access to that. And we have a foundation, and we can take an application from anybody, and the foundation can decide, and I'm a member of the foundation, if we're going to cover somebody. I mean, if it's a big enough deal and there's a big enough wrong being done, there's no reason why we can't cover it. And that's another nice thing about having a captive. We can basically do what we want now. And that's cool. What we had done in the past. We had actually provided coverage to people that weren't even members just because they deserve to have it. So,
dang, that's awesome.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Sam A asks, in a mob attack situation, who's liable for stray rounds hitting bystanders?
Well, you know what? You're responsible for every bullet that leaves your gun. So you're ultimately responsible, but you got to look at the intent behind collateral damage like that. And it's not really a criminal thing. It's more of a negligence thing and the civil thing after the fact. Of course, we have over $1 million in civil coverage to cover things like that. But unfortunately, ultimately, you are. But under the felony murder rule, if someone's committing a felony against you, they're in a lot of ways ultimately responsible for everything that happens. If you and I go into a drugstore and I'm just with you and I know you're going to rob the place, you rob the place and kill somebody, guess what? Under the felony murder doctrine, I'm also responsible for that murder. So probably when you get right down to it, the person that's committing the felony against you, the felony of violence, is ultimately going to be responsible.
There is legal precedent I've read where somebody had a wild shot during an engagement and it killed somebody, and the person that caused the gun to be fired in the first place was charged with it.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's similar to felony murder doctrine.
Crazy, man. Mikhail says, in the attorney network, does SCD pay for the attorney or merely provide you the number of one that you have to pay for?
We provide everything 100% up front. If you're locked up in jail, and I'll provide a list of attorneys, and if you can't retain that attorney because we can't even talk to you yet, then I pick the best attorney for you, and you're at your leisure can hire anybody you want. You can take our advice or don't take your advice. The attorney-client privilege is 100% yours. We're just making sure that you're protected.
If I'm in Chaz,
okay,
and I get surrounded by 1,000 commies and I kill all of them because I was in fear for my life, would you go to the autonomous zone?
For you, I would.
I was like, is this actually a real question? And then nope.
Jeremy, you might as well bump it up to 3,000 and then use the jawbone of an ass, because apparently you're Samson.
Yes.
The what?
No, it's Bible humor.
Oh, the tailbone of an ass.
The jawbone of an ass.
Exactly.
God bless Robert Butler.
Let's see. Sam A says, not sure what the answer is at all here, but how's the legal standing of a person who gets no-knocked on a red flag raid and he or she fires unknowingly on cops?
There's actually a couple cases out there right now, and there's been a couple tragedies because they've had no knocks at the wrong houses. And there's a case that, I don't know if it's still pending or if they dropped the charges against an individual whose girlfriend was killed.
Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
They actually, I think they arrested the main police officer involved in that today or yesterday.
Right, yeah, and that's what I thought. So, I mean, no knock warrants are dangerous, and a lot of times they're not necessary, and it's beyond imagination that you can get the wrong address on a warrant or go to the wrong house when you have a half a dozen police officers there. But actually, in things like that, I'm representing a client right now who the ATF came and visited his family at 2 o'clock in the morning. This guy had never been in trouble before in his life. They were there to ask him some questions. It was a heated moment because a member of a drug task force in Dayton, Ohio, was murdered, and they had questions for this guy. The guy wasn't a danger to anybody. They could have just waited until he got up and went to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. They surrounded his house with the ATF, the Sheriff's Department, the FBI, and he was smart enough to realize that he better put his gun down, or he would have been dead.
Yeah, jeez, ridiculous, man. Perhaps legalities from Nick F. Perhaps the legalities of a self-defense shooting under martial law.
You know what? It all comes down to one thing in almost every state. I'll say every state. Are you in fear of death or serious bodily injury or harm? Martial law, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're in fear of death and serious bodily injury, then you have a right to use self-defense to defend yourself or a third person.
This one I answered already, but good for the show. Jeff J. They may have answered this before. Assuming you're not found guilty, but the police never return your gun from evidence, does SCD replace it?
Well, yes, we do. And we've had that happen a couple times. And in my own practice, when I represent somebody, prosecutors, for whatever reason, they want to keep your gun. They want to keep your gun if they're acquitted, if they drop the charges. I have that all the time. And when I go in and talk to somebody, they say, hey, look, Sean, we'll dismiss the charges, but we're keeping the firearm. And I'll say, no, you're not going to keep a $1,000 Kimber. You're going to get the gun back. For some reason, prosecutors and courts love to keep firearms. I had a client in Philadelphia. He had a Ruger, and they have a process to get the gun back, but it was going to cost me $400 just to file. And so I just bought him another Ruger.
Yeah, that makes sense. Jeez. Jacob R. says, since I'm listening to Aaron be a on tasers, does SCD work with tasers?
You know, unfortunately, we don't work with tasers. Again, it's firearms, use it for self-defense. But when was really the last time you heard someone getting arrested for using a taser to defend their life?
In Atlanta a couple weeks ago, that cop. Or no, I'm sorry, he shot the dude with the taser. That's right.
Yeah. And you know what? And that's lethal force. That's considered lethal force. And the prosecutor in Atlanta 2 weeks prior to that had said it was lethal force, the use of a taser against somebody.
Yeah, we got into like a big argument. Aaron's not here right now, but we got into a huge argument because he's like that. You know, they had to shoot him because he shot a taser. I was like, yeah, they did.
Glad he's dead.
Yeah, if it would have hit, if it would have hit the cop, like, I mean, the guy could have taken his gun. He could have done anything.
I mean, you're on the ground, and the presumption is that someone's trying to get to your firearm. You know, you can use lethal force. And certainly if you're going to tase somebody, have him on the ground, he was already struggling to get something, and he got a taser. He could have just as easily got a firearm.
Yeah. Kyle S. says, what are Sean's thoughts on camera recordings in self-defense situations? If you have footage, home security, phone recording of the event, do you recommend waiting until your lawyer reviews it to hand it over to the cops? Or do you recommend you begin filming immediately after while calling 911 and second call defense?
You know, I've had a lot of clients that have things on film, and my advice to anybody is you don't speak to anybody, you don't hand over any evidence, you don't even let them know there's footage until after you let your attorney make that decision. And that's something that you always got to remember, because as soon as they show up on your house, as soon as you call 911, the criminal investigation is beginning, and they will use every piece of evidence against you. So you don't give them anything until your attorney reviews it, and then it's up to him whether he is going to use it or if discovery is going to demand that he turns it over. Not sure what you want to film after it happens. I mean, at that point in time, the psychological aspects of a threatening encounter have you so screwed up as far as no short-term memory. You have really don't know what's going on because of norepinephrine going through your system, the adrenaline. So, and you're not going to be talking competently. So filming what you're saying at that point in time really makes no sense.
True. That makes sense. Let's see. Kenneth G says, hypothetical scenario. My firearm negligently discharges into the floor at work, mechanical or holster failure. The police and local prosecutor don't arrest or prosecute, but my professional licensure is jeopardized because the board hears about it. Will SCD represent me in a legal battle to retain my licensure?
We'll cover for civil charges, so we're not going to defend a civil or a professional license with any of the damages. We're going to cover any criminal charges or civil action that comes out of that will. But as far as professional license, I've never had that question before. But certainly, again, the foundation could. But we're there to protect people criminally from being charged for using a firearm in self-defense, and then for any civil damages that arise because of a death or damage or that errant bullet.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, I know we already covered this a little bit, but Frank C. says, will SCD ever plan on covering more than just self-defense with guns, like knives, blunt objects, tomahawks, or empty hand?
Yeah, we are, and that's something we're probably going to do down the road. We're also probably going to offer instructor coverage also for instructors, firearms instructors. But we've thought of that again. But I've been practicing criminal defense for almost 30 years, and I have never represented somebody for using any of the things he mentioned in self-defense. You're just not charged with it that way, and it just doesn't come up. Believe it or not, it just doesn't happen. I mean, we all look at worst case scenarios. What if I use my nunchucks? What if I use my taser and blind somebody? Well, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But again, with anybody that properly uses self-defense and is being charged or persecuted for that reason, as a criminal defense attorney and part of who I am, we're always going to want to defend them. And that's why we have the greater leeway with the foundation. And we've always left it that way. The first member that I actually represented was a gentleman from Kentucky. We were probably in existence for 2 months, and we covered him for brandishing. He never brandished. He was accused of brandishing his gun. So really, we didn't have to cover him, but just because he was accused of brandishing, we covered him, even though we never brandished.
Dang. Crazy. All right, so let's talk about where SCD is not allowed. I think, Washington, New Jersey?
Yeah, Washington, New Jersey, New York State, maybe Oregon.
It's weird, right? So, I mean, this is something that states did once they found out about self-defense insurance, right? It's not just SCD; it's like all the insurance companies, right?
All the insurance companies. I'm trying to Citizen Defense Network in the state of Washington. Know those guys for a long time, known them well. And I happened to bump into one of them, I think in Atlanta at the NRA annual meeting, and I said, hey, I got news that we were contacted. We can't provide our coverage in the state of Washington. He goes, well, we can because we're a foundation, blah, blah, blah. I said, I'm the same way. 3 months later, they shut him down too. So, and then USCCA, everybody. And who knows? You expect it from New Jersey. I was surprised from the state of Washington. New York State, of course, they're still suing Ferry Guard, so they're still involved with that. That's not over yet completely. So,
what?
But then you have states like Illinois who want to require anybody who owns a firearm to have a minimum of $250,000 of civil coverage for liability. So, obviously, we provide much more than that. But states don't know what they're doing. Again, it's about making things more difficult for you and I, and it's going to continue to grow worse.
Yeah. So what's the deal with them, like not allowing that kind of insurance? How do they kick you out of this? How do they diminish your ability to do business in the states?
Well, their board of insurance reviews. Insurance is heavily regulated by everybody, and they decided for the NRA, for example, but the NRA was doing everything that we didn't do. They were saying that Dana was, in fact, was selling insurance, and she's not licensed. So they just say that we can't provide coverage for that, or they decide that they don't want their citizens to have coverage for insurance if they use a firearm in self-defense. Yeah. And it takes someone that residents to sue or us to sue them to do that, but it's just a losing proposition when you're suing somebody with a deep pocket. With taxpayers' money.
Yeah. Did you see the Albuquerque, New Mexico, the guy who used his firearm in self-defense in the street at the protest?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that, says Craig T.?
I thought it was a justifiable shooting at that point in time. I mean, no matter what happened in the beginning, he was retreating or fully retreating, and we don't know all the facts yet. But all of a sudden, when you're on the ground and you're getting beat with feet, with hands, with skateboards, or whatever, you have the potential of being killed or serious bodily injury or harm. I mean, I think he did what I hope I would do at that point in time to protect my life. So I thought he did everything that he had a legal right to do, and certainly by watching the part of the video that they showed us, he didn't jump the gun, so to speak. He probably waited a little bit too long.
Yeah, I compared it to George Zimmerman. He had done things to antagonize the assault previously, but at the time where he was actually attacked, he was in full retreat. It looked like, right. Even if he was still talking, I believe. I mean, he was still precluding himself from the issue, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Albuquerque is an interesting city, and extremely volatile on its best days, let alone when you have civil unrest like this.
Albuquerque's a hole.
It is, yeah.
We've actually had 4 members from Albuquerque have to discharge. The last one was a gentleman who, a 10-time convicted felon, broke into his house about 2:00 in the morning, kicked his kitchen door in, and our client shot him. And of course, he still had to go through the grand jury system, and now he's a witness for the state against this guy. But it's amazing that this guy had been going door to door, kicking in doors. Was already a 10-time loser as a felon under disability, kicking doors in, and the good guy with the gun still has to wait for the determination of what the grand jury is going to do, and still we pay $10,000 for an attorney to represent him through a grand jury process. And that's 2 to 3 months, and so you go to bed every night wondering if you're going to go to jail for shooting the guy that kicked your kitchen door in.
Jeez. Corey Van B says, how much in attorney fees will realistically be incurred in a self-defense shooting? I get that every scenario is different, but is $10,000 enough to do anything in most cases?
You know what? Probably, and it does vary. If you use a firearm in self-defense in Butler County, Ohio, where I'm going to be, chances are you're going to be a hero in tomorrow's paper. But go to Columbus, Ohio, an hour and 40 minutes up the road, and it's going to be opposite. So I think $10,000 and many times is a good start, but you can certainly, with $10,000, get an attorney that'll take that and see that to the end. I mean, obviously they want more, but believe it or not, especially in the criminal defense realm, there's a lot of attorneys out there that understand what's going on and want to help and want to see justice more than a fat bank account. I would say $50,000 will take care of just about everything. But when I say that, I think about the fact that when our client in California shot his neighbor in self-defense, every attorney I talked to, and I talked to 7 of them in the Los Angeles area and in that area where they were at, everybody at a minimum wanted $100,000 non-refundable up front. So that meant I stroke a check for $100,000. Charges are never filed. He keeps it all. And so we had no choice, and they wouldn't do an hourly rate. Nobody would. So, we had to dance to their tune. So start them a check for $100,000.
Dang, man. And I think the $10,000 is the criminal defense protection. That's for your basic, but it goes up in defender and ultimate as well.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
All right. Dang. Let's see.
$10,000 will go a long way with anybody.
Zach Van D says, if I use a firearm in self-defense and then the fight ends up on the ground and a knife gets introduced, will SCD only cover the firearm part or the whole case?
We're going to cover the whole case because it's a self-defense case. You start out with a firearm, so it's not much is really going to change if it's in a self-defense incident like that.
And again, I'm just asking these. Daniel C. says, defending yourself with a pistol by way of pistol whipping someone. Just curious.
You know what? I'd cover you for that. It's just like brandishing.
Yeah. Daniel C. says, "Oh,
that's now a Boogaloo goal."
Pistol whip.
I can't wait to pistol whip Jeremy.
Would love to hear about a case SCD won and one that SCD lost in their opinion, and why you think they lost.
You know what? We really haven't lost any cases. There's a case I didn't take out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the reason why I didn't do this is because this was all on film. When I got the emergency phone call, it was during the annual meeting in Louisville. If you guys were there,
I remember you ran away.
Yeah.
I think we were.
He was in a 7-Eleven. He was attacked by the beer cooler. These guys obviously knew each other. The guy shoved him at the beer cooler. They both separated ways. They met at the front door, and the second call defense member got knocked to the ground. And then the second call defense member pulled a Glock, pulled the trigger. No, nothing in the chamber, no magazine in there. But when he pulled that Glock, the guy took off running. Now, think about it, somebody running down the street at full speed. The second call defense member gets up and kind of doesn't run, but quickly saunters to his truck at the gas pumps, reaches in, grabs a magazine, racks one in, lays his gun over the hood of the truck, and empties a Glock 17. As this guy is who knows how many feet down the road.
Oof, moly.
And then hides from the police and won't tell me all the truth and what's going on. And I was going to provide bail because everybody has a right to bail. But when his own father, who's a criminal defense attorney in Albuquerque, refused to co-sign on the bail, I was done.
Yeah, that's a lot of, and that's the thing is like you can, if you use your firearm in self-defense, you got to follow the rules and the law. Like if you just like indiscriminately use your firearm for something that, for someone yelling at you about a mask in a grocery store, like clearly you're not going to be covered for that because clearly you're being very irresponsible and not obeying the law, right?
To be fair, if you shoot somebody for you for not wearing a mask in a grocery store, I commend you.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, seriously.
Then we had a negligent discharge, probably one of the saddest cases. It's sad because of what it did to this person. It was a female outside of Colorado Springs who was actually a firearms trainer, had cleaned her firearm in her hotel room, had a negligent discharge, and the police in Colorado Springs tried to run her through the ringer. And I got a great attorney out of Denver, and those charges were dismissed. A case in Philadelphia where a gentleman who was in his late 70s was knocked off his bicycle, surrounded by a gang of thugs, and the second call defense member discharged his firearm. Everybody scattered. Everybody ran. He called me after he got home on his bicycle and told me what happened. And I said, "Did you call 911?" He said, "No." So we called 911 together. They never found anybody at the emergency rooms that were wounded, but the Philadelphia police came over and was giving this guy a rash of crap, threatening to take him to jail. So I said, "Let me talk to a police officer." Had a conversation with him. At that point in time, I had a Philadelphia criminal defense attorney on the line because I knew things weren't going to go well. And the police were demanding that he come down and answer questions. And I said, "You're not going anywhere." And I said, "But here's my cell phone number." I said, "If anything happens, because I had a feeling you're going to be back," I said, "you call me." Now, this is about 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. 2 o'clock in the morning, my cell phone rings. The police are trying to take this guy down to the station. He's a 70-some-year-old guy, and they're trying to take him to the station to answer questions. So I talked to the police officer, and I said, "He's not going anywhere." And he said, "I don't care who you are. He's going to go one or two ways, the easy way or the hard way, and no matter what, he's going to go to the police station." I said, "Wait a minute. You're telling me my client's not under arrest, and you're going to forcibly remove him from his house?" And he said, "Yes." So by the time he got there, calmer heads had prevailed and an attorney on the way. I think probably the desk sergeant said, "You did what?" and sent him home. Gave him his concealed carry permit back, gave him his gun back, and said, "Just go home."
Nice.
So that was, and I can't imagine what happened if he didn't have an attorney there on the phone the whole time and one on the way.
Yeah, they would have run roughshod over him.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Chris M says, "If I have the insurance and my wife doesn't, but she protects me using a firearm, would she be covered?"
No, but your wife can get insurance for what, $4 or $5 a month?
Yeah, you can add on for 4 or 5, 4, 5, and 7 depending on the plan.
Yeah, only because it's a contract, and when you're looking at insurance coverage, it's who actually has a policy and who's covered under the contract. If not, then it would be every family member and everybody, and anybody who was doing this couldn't possibly. I don't know how we can really afford to do it at $4 or $5, but we do.
Nice. Dyslexic operator says, "If the firearm's legal in my state, does it matter what firearm I use in self-defense? Because I figured the DA would cringe seeing me deploy an MP5K from under my jacket."
You know what? I probably 20 or 30 years ago, it mattered, but I don't think it really matters as much. People are a lot more well-educated. And the thing is, you can defend lethal force even for death or serious bodily injury or harm. He had the ability to do him harm. He had the opportunity, and he put my client in jeopardy. So why does it matter how he chooses to defend himself?
Yeah, I agree. And I think we've talked about that in the past. I saved the best question for last from Thomas L. "What do you do if two people with second call defense shoot each other in self-defense? Call it a draw, question mark?"
No, it's going to be, you got to look at the facts of the case because someone was in fear of death or serious bodily injury or harm. And
somebody was at fault.
Yeah, and usually that's pretty clear. But you know what? If it came down to it and we couldn't determine who was right and who was wrong, obviously on the face, we'd represent both people. The money would be, there'd be a conflict, so we just stroke the check and let the courts fight it out.
Nice. Oh, actually, there is one more that I saw that I think is kind of interesting. It says, does SCD cover folks who don't have concealed carry permits? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. We cover anybody who legally uses a firearm in self-defense. So you can be at your home, or you can be open carrying. You can be in West Virginia where they have constitutional carry. You don't have to have a concealed carry permit as long as you're legally carrying a firearm in self-defense.
So if someone's concealed carry permit is expired, they wouldn't be covered, correct?
Well, it all depends if he's even charged with that. A lot of times we've had cases where people had a firearm where they didn't really have right to have it there, but he's never charged for that because of the situation. Because most police are going to take a look at things in most jurisdictions.
But the guy in Albuquerque apparently didn't have a concealed carry permit. So I'm interested to see where that goes.
Yeah, that will be. It'll be interesting to see if what they charge him with, if anything.
Yeah, I totally agree. All right, I think that was all the questions we had about second call defense, self-defense shootings in general, and I think that'll do it for our questions tonight. That was good stuff. Like, that was a lot of information.
Yeah.
I want to come out with a public service announcement and remind everybody that when you're cleaning your gun and it's loaded and you load it up and you're putting it back in a safe, keep your finger off the trigger. I've had 2 more negligent discharges in the past month under the same scenario, on top of the other 5 I've had with the same fact pattern. Every time someone gets done cleaning their gun, they load it up and they're putting a loaded gun in their safe. And as they're putting it in their safe, they have an NG which leaves their house and goes into the neighbor's house. I don't know what people are doing or how you're putting your gun in your safe, but just be careful, you guys. You got to have trigger control no matter where you are.
Yeah, they're like, okay, clean my gun, yeet.
Yeah, I mean, it's stunning how many times this has happened.
So
it's happening again.
People.
I don't know.
I mean, my gun is in its holster unless it's shooting someone, pretty much. If I'm cleaning it, it's out. If I'm shooting someone, it's out. Otherwise, it's in the holster. I don't care where it's at.
I mean, we have enough problems. We don't need negligent discharges because we're not thinking anymore.
No, yeah, that's almost inexcusable stuff like that, right? What do you think, Nick?
I mean, it depends. Was the gun safe a threat?
Good point. Also, they're shooting through their gun safe. What kind of piece of crap gun safe do they have?
So I don't know. Thank God, if it's going in the gun safe and there's a discharge and it leaves the house and goes into the neighbor's house, how close to getting shot was the person with the gun each time?
Yeah, what, they got them black talons or what?
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Got them cop killers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sean, what do you think about what's going on in the universe right now? It's a crazy time to be alive, huh?
It's insane. I mean, we couldn't roll the clock back 7 months and come up with what's happening right now with the corona crap and everything else, and then with what's going on with the civil unrest and Black Lives Matter, and all of a sudden we're defunding police. We're letting socialists and anarchists take over city blocks. We're not enforcing the laws. We're letting them tear down statutes. We're letting them go through cities, pillage, burn, loot, and we're not doing anything to these people.
Yeah.
And we're providing our own citizens with the protections that we could. Listen, as a country, as a city, as a township, if we can't offer people the basic fundamentals protection of police and fire, then everything's already melted down. And if we don't stop it now and take it back, it'll get to the point where we're never going to be able to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, the pandemic was crazy. I was like, holy crap, this is unprecedented in my lifetime. And then just like immediately during, we end up with some pretty crazy civil unrest as well. It's and people buying firearms at record numbers for 3 months in a row now.
Yeah, and I have a friend who owns Right to Arms. And Jeremy can tell you there's just a number of people that are coming in that have never owned a firearm before and probably never thought they would. And I think a lot of liberals have come in that I've sold firearms to. And what's even more amazing is they're actually taking classes. Every class, it used to be one class a month with 24 people. Now it's every class of Saturday with 24 people. So I'm glad that the majority seem to be getting training. But I mean, if you can have the ammo and you have the firearm, you can sell it. Jeremy, what's your inventory been like?
I'm I tried to post a picture in this Facebook page I'm in, but apparently it wasn't within the rules. But I put a picture up of where all the guns are on the wall.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of like R guns and guns that are for show, and like I got a bunch of my ARs up there. It's like, hey, we can do this if you want. They're not actually for sale, but here's some ideas. So I told my guys, take everything off that wall that isn't for sale. The machine guns, my ARs, the whatever, just guns that are for sale up on the wall. There were 5. Out of what? Yeah, there you go. That picture.
Oh my God, yeah.
So there's a checkmate in that tall glass case on the right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 other handguns, and then 5 long guns, 3 shotguns, and 2 rifles.
I can't believe you have shotguns.
2 Stoger M3Ks that are set up for competition and expensive as and then a consignment 870 that the guy wants too much money for.
Okay.
And then that's like a left-handed bolt action 243 and a 7.6239 Ruger American.
The Ruger American's all right, but dang, the rest
that's a
of
great
them.
hog rifle, threaded barrel on a 7.6239.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Holy, yeah, it's crazy, man. Sean, have you changed the way you're kind of running around with your everyday carry and stuff, or are you just kind of doing what you normally do?
No, of course, I've always tried to have enough to get me to where I'm going, but I've added some extra tools that travel with me. Because a lot of times I'm traveling, from here to Columbus to the State House, and Columbus is totally crazy. They're going to take the statue and remove the statue of Christopher Columbus, and they're passing a petition to rename the city. I mean, this is just ridiculous. So, and you don't know where things are going to pop up. So I try to make sure that I'm protected. And of course, my entire family is always protected by themselves. But you gotta be ready for what may never happen, but more likely or not could now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, I was rolling around with an AR pistol in my backpack all the time. And now, I still have AR pistols next to me at all times, pretty much.
You have to.
Yeah, agreed. It's nuts. Let's see, where are we at? I don't know what Aaron was going to do for Not Guns, so we'll just move on right past that. But before we do, we'll talk about Polymer 80. Jeremy, what checkmate do you have?
The CZ checkmate. There's only one. It's not the Parrot. It's just the regular one.
Is it the one that's like $3,400 MSRP?
Well, there's only 2 checkmate models. There's the Parrot, which is like it's like a bunch of crazy anodized colors. Like that's a checkmate.
It's beautiful.
Oh, they're so amazing. But that is the in the iron sight configuration.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes with the setup where, there's the video right there, bottom left.
This one?
No, I think he's talking about the picture. It comes with the frame mounted.
This one.
With the frame mounted Seymour sight.
Oh, okay,
there you go.
Yeah. All right.
So that's how ours is actually set up right at the moment.
They are amazing.
So then there's the Parrot. See the blue, yellow, green thing?
Yes.
That's the Parrot. That's a CZ checkmate Parrot.
Yeah, that's one Nick was showing me.
It's crazy. They're awesome.
Our buddy Corey has a Parrot. Like the grips are different colors, like slightly different. One's yellow and one's like a goldish orange.
Corey who?
Three gun.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
They're like I don't usually like ridiculous, flashy stuff like that, but the Parrot is just so cool in person.
Yeah, dang, that's pretty.
No,
awesome.
this one's just an all black checkmate.
It's still an amazing gun.
Yeah,
still beautiful.
I literally only bought it because A, I had the money, and B, they're hard to get, so I wanted to get my hands on one while I knew I could, and then as soon as I save up enough money to just take it from the store, is mine.
No,
and I'm gonna get a holster for it.
No doubt.
Well, obviously, yeah, you have to.
I'm gonna CCW that.
Maloney, Funkmaster Fat said, has SCD ever had to cover a case where someone used an AR pistol?
No, we haven't.
What about a machine gun? Because if they come in my store, you're going to get a call about self-defense with a machine gun.
No, I haven't. But any legally possess their own firearm.
Nice. Good stuff. Real quick, Polymer 80, polymer80.com. Nick, do you have a PF940C?
Yeah.
The 19 version?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they actually now have mag wells for them, and I have one for you in the office.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're amazing. So they've got the P320 mag wells that are out now, and also the PF940C, which is basically, it uses Glock 19 parts in that. So you can find those at polymer80.com. All kinds of stuff. They're getting stuff in stock there. I've actually got their own serialized firearms now, and we'll be doing a review on those coming up very soon. So go check them out, polymer80.com. Coupon code WLS's Life saves you 15% all day, every day. Let's read some news. All right, Sightmark. You guys familiar with them?
Yes.
So coming to us from guns.com, our good friend Jackie Billings, Sightmark releases new solar-powered mini red dot. I'll throw it up on the screen here so you guys can see it.
Ooh.
So we have some Sightmark stuff that I kind of like, to be honest.
Do we?
Yeah, the spotting scope.
Oh, yeah. It's all right.
Yeah. Works pretty well. So what do you guys think about other companies? I mean, like Holosun, they've made, what do you call it? A pretty big splash with their solar-powered stuff. What do you guys think of this?
I don't know.
It looks similar to just about the other stuff.
I haven't been impressed with Sightmark's red dots and things.
I will agree with that.
So I don't know. I would certainly try one out. At $239, I would probably look at a different option.
Yeah. Sean, what do you think? Have you messed with Sightmark stuff?
You know, I have had a couple different models given to me, and I've used them, and I've used some more that were quite a bit more. But really, for the price, they're surprisingly good. So I've used them. I had one that was set up for a crossbow that was really good, and then I had one on I think an early AR that I had.
Yeah, I had some stuff in the past. I was just looking up the Holosun 507C. That's $364 MSRP, and I really love this.
I was going to say, that thing's awesome. I have one of those.
What's like the AR red dot that has solar from Holosun?
I'm not sure, but you're on the Holosun website, right?
Yeah. I don't remember any of these. Let's see. This one, the 503, that's the one. And that one's $341 with the solar. I would pick a Holosun over a Sightmark any day.
So would I.
Honestly, I would pick a Primary Arms.
Yeah.
I have like a $120 Primary Arms that I got like 7 or 8 years ago that has been just horribly abused. It's been on a bunch of different guns, and it's still kicking.
Yeah. So their spotting scope's been pretty decent. I agree with you guys. I would definitely put my money elsewhere, but it's interesting that they're trying to come to market with stuff.
Yeah.
Next story is Patriot Ordnance Factory loses its voice. This actually happened about a week ago. I don't think we talked about it yet, though. But Frank DeSama, I don't know if you guys, did you ever meet him?
I don't think so.
He's a really loud, brash dude. Dude on the left in the picture here. Anyway, he passed away in Arizona recently. He was the man, the CEO of Patriot Ordnance Factory, or POF. Not Plenty of Fish, Jeremy. But yeah, apparently got into a vehicle accident on a lonely road in Arizona after a match, I believe, or something. They were sponsoring a match. Or I'm not 100% sure on that detail, but witnesses said that there may have been a red or orange car that was involved in some way but didn't stick around and left. So I don't know exactly what it is, but I know a lot of people have been really upset. I know a lot of people who know him. I met him a couple times. Seemed like a nice enough dude, but I know people were pretty upset about it, which I can understand. So Patriot Ordnance Factory, we'll see what they do, where they go from here, but rest in peace, Frank. Did you ever meet him, Sean?
No, I never have. Not that I know of. But I bumped into a lot of people. Judson took me to Arizona on a couple of occasions. We did some I did some second call defense, lethal force and law classes, and assisted him with some basic pistol classes. And I met an awful lot of people, so I could have. And I also debated the head of Arizona's school psychology program, and we debated faster program versus mental health and what was going to save more kids quicker.
That's awesome.
I was victorious.
Were you?
Yes, I was. It was pretty easy. I said, I agree with everything you say, ma'am, but that's going to take generations. What I'm offering you can start tomorrow and save and have an impact tomorrow.
That is awesome. Next story, pump your brakes, kid. Lawmakers to ATF pump the brakes on banning braces. I'll throw it up on the screen here. But so there's been some, just some chatter about the ATF possibly what are they doing? They're recertifying, reclassifying pistol braces, but Representative
they did the bump stop.
Yeah, exactly. Rep Matt Getz, not to be confused with Bernie Getz. What Bernie wants, Bernie gets. They you at the drive-thru. That guy, you know. Mm-hmm. He's a Republican out of Florida, co-signed by 6 other lawmakers. Called out Attorney General William Barr and the Bureau of BATFE on crafting secret rules restricting the possession. He said, and I quote in his letter, "We understand the ATF is currently considering restricting one-arm brace model owned by over 700,000 Americans. We strongly urge ATF to cease taking any actions and reconsider or rescind any secret determinations which call into question the legality of firearms owned by millions of law-abiding Americans." We don't know specifically what brace could be affected, but looking at their past flip-flops, I fully think that I'm glad that some politicians are actually getting involved with this ahead of time. Will it do any good? I don't actually know, but
no, I'm not giving them up, and I will shoot you in the face if you come to take them in Minecraft.
In Minecraft, yeah. Sean, what do you think about this? I mean, it's not unheard of for them to do something like this.
I read that article earlier a couple of days ago, and I was immediately concerned because that's how it all starts. The ATF issues you a little letter or a bulletin that says, "Hey, we're taking a look at this. We might redefine things and take another look." And all of a sudden, boom! They seem to be acting autonomously, which I don't think they can. And that's why I truly don't believe the bump stock thing's over yet. I mean, there's a couple of cases pending. You know, when do they have the authority to do what Congress has? And I don't think they have the authority to just make another definition that's going to impact nearly 1 million Americans and with products that have been legally. And when was the last time you heard an arm brace, being responsible for some heinous act or heinous crime?
Yeah, never, because arm braces are tools used by people.
Right.
Yeah. James A. actually said something in the chat. He said, "Cue the pistol brace mass shooting," and I'm almost cynical enough to believe that now.
Now, to be fair, I had read another article previously when this whole thing came out, where they talked to the gentleman from SB Tactical.
Yes,
and he essentially said this is not like a new or sudden threat that essentially the ATF has jumped around a lot since arm braces became a thing, and that they have been fighting very hard to keep arm braces where they're at. So, I mean, according to him, it's not necessarily that this is like a new sudden push. It's just that there's always been an element there.
Yeah, the Dayton shooter, I believe, did have a AR pistol with a brace.
What was this one?
The one in Dayton?
I don't. Was this recent?
That motherfucker got lit up by the popo, but he whacked a few people before he got
like going into bars.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Outdoor bar area.
Oh, was that the one that was like the video game tournament or something?
No.
Okay, yeah, I don't.
It was in the Oregon district, probably almost a year ago, and he showed up. Was already under mental health treatment. Was a nut basically, and was currently being seen by a psychiatrist. In fact, when they arrested him, he had 3 receipts from his psychiatrist in his pocket, and all of a sudden, Mike DeWine, with his Ohio Strong bill, wants to have red flag bills that are extremely severe. And I said, wait a minute. He's under active treatment by a doctor who doesn't even know he's going to go out tonight and kill people. How in the world can the family member or somebody else predict when someone's going to do something like this? You know, that's the main reason why you should never have a red flag bill. Whenever you give someone the authority with a barefaced accusation to especially a family member to impact somebody's rights, they're going to abuse it. And it's always been abused. The laws are in place in the state of Ohio that allow police to essentially to take somebody, remove them to the hospital for immediate treatment, and then let the psychologist or psychiatrist make the decision. So, I mean, that's just the way things go crazy.
Yeah, totally agree. Pretty nuts. What about, you mentioned red flags. Like, I know, I think actually I just saw a question in the chat over here about SCD and red flags, maybe possibly in the future. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, we've been taking a look at that, and that's one thing that the foundation is going to take a look at, because we have a client in Florida that was threatened with that, so we did get involved to a certain extent. But those are so tough because there's so many different. I mean, you guys have one of the worst red flag laws there is in the state of Colorado. Yeah, it doesn't get much worse than that. And really, if you think about it, it should be instant. Your insurance, your health insurance to cover it, because you're going to have a psychological evaluation, and you're going to have an attorney representing your interests anyhow. So I'm not sure that they wouldn't, but it's just bizarre. I mean, to try to predict when somebody's going to do something wrong, all that is another tool for government to infringe upon our rights, and for family members to say, oh no, my Uncle Bob has a gun. And I think in Colorado it's extended to dating couples too. You don't even have to be a family member. So Jeremy and I go out on a date, and I start talking about all these great firearms I have, and he doesn't have a good feeling about how our date worked out, or he's pissed off because I'm not going to go out with him again. And so he red flags me. He calls and said, you know what? I'm afraid. Sean was talking about taking me target shooting and having guns. And that's as easy as that in Colorado.
Yeah. Is it legal? I mean, not legal, but like, is there any recourse if you just red flag the governor every day? I mean, I don't see why you're not. I don't see why people aren't doing that constantly.
Right. Well, in Colorado, there was a lady who red flagged a cop who had killed her son in a incident like a year or two previous, and she red flagged him, said he was a danger with the firearm, and I think she actually did end up arrested. I actually forget where that went after that, but yeah, I think she definitely got arrested. In fact, she was on Facebook Live when they kicked her door in and took her into custody.
You know, that's some. But if somebody does that to you, they ain't gonna do fucking thing.
And it's amazing. Red flag laws they're all over the board. They're inconsistent everywhere. They can't be equally enforced. They make no sense whatsoever. Yet people try to hide behind them and think they're going to do some good.
Yeah.
What DeWine came up with was the most ridiculous thing. He thought he was going to give people constitutional rights by me knocking on the door and saying, Sean, we know you have guns, and in 3 days, I'm giving you notice that we're going to have a hearing. And in 3 days, we're going to make a decision whether you can keep those guns or not. So then you're going to come to a hearing with full warning. So if you are nuts, what are you going to do before the 3-day period's up? So you come into a hearing, and the judges, the doctors, and everybody decides, well, Sean, you can't have your guns. And so then the police officer would say, you have 24 hours to turn these guns into us, or we're going to come and get them. How would you like to be the police officer serving that warrant? I mean, that's how we're talking.
Thanks for the heads up.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That was
Excuse me, I got to make a trip to Home Depot for some pipes and nails. Don't wonder why.
I mean, but that was actually the legislation he was proposing. I said, you got to be kidding me.
Wow. What a time to be alive. Last story is about accidental transfers. So stay with me here. This comes to us from AmmoLand. It's Sheila Jackson Lee, Democrat out of Texas, introduced this crazy stuff that talks about accidental gun transfers. So Jeremy, right now, if the NICS check doesn't come back in, 3 days? It's just basically you can transfer the firearm.
You can transfer it because it's still a fundamental right. And if that wasn't involved, there are certain people that would never be able to buy a gun because the government is up.
Yeah, it would be a de facto gun ban if they could just whatever. But by claiming some of the transfers are accidental, they're trying to make it seem as if they were not intended to happen, even though it's like law that you can transfer it, and puts the government. It actually makes the government accountable. It makes them do something in a legitimate amount of time. But what it would do is create a report that lists the number of times when a NICS check goes beyond the 3 business days and the transfer goes ahead. And that sounds fairly innocuous, but you know what they're going to do with that report. They're going to use that report to take guns away from us in the future, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Sean, have you heard about this one yet?
Yeah, I've heard about it, and I've dealt it with some of my clients who are FFL members because, people think that, well, after the 3-day period of time, that's all right. If he's under disability, he's got his gun forever. No, they don't do that. The ATF finally is going to get around to doing the background check. They're going to call Jeremy and going to say, hey, did you complete that transfer? And he's going to say yes. And then they're going to say, well, would you take this gun back in return? And he'll say yes or no. And then they're going to go get the gun and seize it and do whatever. I've represented several people that have had.
You're like, do I get a free gun? Because I'm about free guns. Like, if you're going to go take it from the guy and give it back to me, I'm not giving him his money back. No refunds.
They'll see that's what they want to know. They're going to ask, will you give them their money back? So
no.
I've had ATF agents down here say that. And actually, I had a client say, yeah, there was a woman. She had no idea that she was under a disability, and for the reason she was, you wouldn't.
How the do you not know?
There are so many people that have been buying guns because, number one, they're not told, and number two, they've been buying guns for decades, and all of a sudden, Ohio becomes NICS compliant with concealed carry, or eventually they catch up to them. I mean, I've represented dozens of people that have been buying guns for years, literally, and then for first time out of the blue, they get turned down.
Holy moly!
I had a fun one. About a month and a half ago. You want to hear that one?
Yeah.
Guy comes in, orders a gun, right? I want this exact gun, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't say anything, just that he wants this gun. Okay, we got to order it. He puts half down, and that's like a non-refundable deposit. Like, this isn't a gun that I'm going to stock.
Mm-hmm.
So you're putting half down, non-refundable, you. If you get denied or some I'm just keeping your money and leave. If not, go tell the cops that you're under disability trying to buy guns, by all means. I mean, really, you. Stupidity should come with a price. Odds are it's about $425 in this case. And so the gun shows up. We call him. He shows up with this old man in a wheelchair. And we're like, you never said it was like a gift. Like, oh, it's for my dad. It's a 1911. He was in the military way back in the day. This dude's 1,000 years old, but whatever. Okay, we do gifts. Nothing's really setting off the alarm yet.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, old man's, it's a gift for the old man, whatever. So he starts filling the form out, and the old man marks that he has a felony.
Oh, God, dude.
We're like, and my guy goes, all right, this guy's 1,000 years old, so he might have read that wrong. And he goes, sir, did you have a felony? And he goes, yeah. You got charged and convicted with a felony crime. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Did you ever get it expunged? Well, I don't know. And then the son and the daughter presumably go, yeah, he got that expunged. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. I want to hear him say it. Did you get it expunged? I don't know. You don't know if you got it. I feel like that's something that you would know. I feel like that's a thing you have to do. It's a process you have to go through to get it expunged. If you're telling me you had a felony, did you get it expunged? And he's like, and for the third time, he's like, well, I don't know. And we're like, all right, this shit's over with, done.
Yeah. Bye.
And they're like, well, can one of us fill it out? I'm like, no, that's a straw sale now.
Yep.
I'm like, now. And they're like, well, can we get our money back? I'm like, no, it's a non-refundable deposit. Will you just keep our money?
Yep.
Yeah. Leave.
Yeah, that sucks. But I mean, at that point, that they're trying to purchase a gun for a prohibited person.
Right.
How great would it be if he actually did get it expunged? He just really hates his kids,
or he's just old as
or that he's too senile to remember, and at which point he probably doesn't need it.
Yeah.
I just What
I put that story up in a internet group that I'm in.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, sounds like you just got the wrong old man to do a straw sale for him.
And a lot of the cases where the people didn't know they're under disability, these are municipal court cases, and it could have been a domestic violence 30 years ago. Well, finally, sometime, they open up a drawer and they find these old cases that they never reported to NICS. And they do, because that's been the problem in Ohio and really in the United States. They're people understaffed. And so I think Cuyahoga County was something like 9 months behind on getting papers and things reported to NICS for hundreds and hundreds of people that are not under federal disabilities, and they just never got around to turning the paperwork in. And that's what's been happening. And then one of the big things that happened when Ohio went NICS compliant with the CCW, that expanded the chances that you had to be under disability, because before that, basically the sheriff's department was calling all the jurisdictions you said you lived in to see if you were under disability. That's the way the old system was. Jeez. And so, everybody wanted to be NICS compliant. There's a lot of people that aren't carrying guns anymore because of it.
Actually, I found out that the county that I live in was doing NICS checks from the beginning.
Huh, that's weird.
Because I asked him about that. I was like, got to doing NICS checks now, March 23rd, 2015. And they're like, yeah, we always did it. We haven't issued a CCW in this county without a NICS check since 2000 and whenever it happened.
Huh. Interesting.
I wonder how they got away with that before it was allowed to do that, because NICS really doesn't even allow you to do that, to run background checks for concealed carry permits until that's part of your state law. Huh.
I don't know.
I wonder if they have to pay for it or something. I mean, there's states that run their entire concealed carry permit holder database through NICS every monthly.
Every 6 months, Kentucky does things like that.
Yeah, like Illinois does it, I think, monthly, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they probably do.
Yeah. Craziness. Oh, and going back to the 3-day proceed thing, my IOI, when I got my FFL during my inspection or interview or whatever it's called, he mentioned it, and he put the hard sell, like, not to transfer after 3 days. He's like, you don't want someone having a gun that doesn't need to have a gun, right? And I'm like, this is the guy who's making the decision on my FFL. So I'm like, no, I definitely don't want someone who is prohibited to have a firearm.
That.
Well, but I will clearly transfer after 3 days if I have no reason to believe that they shouldn't have it. But what I said was, I don't want someone who's prohibited to have a firearm. 3 days doesn't mean they're prohibited. I was very careful in the way I phrased it.
I caught that.
Yeah. But, all right, that'll do it for the news. And so, Sean Maloney, do you think it's important for people to have second call defense, like, now more than ever?
I can't imagine not having it now. But, I mean, I guess the risk or the opportunity, so to speak, for anybody to be forced to use a firearm of self-defense, in my view, went up tenfold. Everywhere you go now, you could be in danger. You can get caught up in anything. And plus, all of a sudden, people are talking about defunding police departments. And let me tell you something. There's a lot of police departments, they're getting the blue flu and people aren't showing up. Mm-hmm. And we're on our own now, well, then we're really going to be on our own. And you look around the country, no one seems to get arrested, or if they get arrested, they're immediate release. And so they have carte blanche to go and commit any crime, and they're not afraid of being prosecuted, not even afraid of being arrested. And when that happens, then the potential victim pool increases, and the chances of you having to use a firearm of self-defense increases, I think, greatly. And I think that's why membership goes up because of that. And it's been steady through Corona, and then with this, it's even bigger increases. But you have to. I mean, unless you have the money running around. That's what I always said. Okay, you have $100,000 in your bank account for your bond. Congratulations. But why do you want to lose $100,000 of your money? Wouldn't it make more sense to lose my money?
Yeah.
Because you're not getting your bond money back in most cases. In Illinois, you will. And in Kentucky and a couple more states. But for the most part, that bond money's gone. You don't see it again. And people don't realize that.
Yeah, so if you're out there and people who are getting their first guns, like, mention this to them. And, I mean, $9.95 for the basic, $14.95 for the next.
For accidental shooting alone, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Remind me to talk to you later because I got to get my wife on my policy.
I think. Well, did she just sign up by herself?
What's that?
Did she just sign up by herself?
No, she hasn't signed up yet. I was just going to put her on my policy.
You sure? Because I got somebody with your same last name, a female, and looked like it was near part of the country last week, and I was thinking, I wonder if that's Jeremy's wife.
Probably my wife then. I'll have to ask her.
Interesting.
I didn't think she did. I thought I was just going to tag her on to me.
Well, and then when I started thinking, why didn't he just add her on? So maybe she thought she had to get her own policy, but if she did, I'll change it and we'll add her on.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll text you later.
I just added Angel onto my policy. So
cool story, Sean.
Crazy time. WeLikeShooting.com/SCDs where you can get Second Call to Fans. Yeah, apparently no one cares, but whatever. Is where you can find it and get that. And that'll do it for the show. Sean, any cool stuff coming up or just business as usual?
When the big roll out with their own captive, and then I'm going to start hitting the road and speaking on a more regular basis. Of course, I have been traveling the country doing continuing legal education because there's a large percentage of the defense bar throughout the United States that really have no clue when it comes to self-defense and the use of lethal force. So I've been teaching continuing legal education classes. Of course, with the bird flu, that shut everything down. So I can't wait to get that started again because it's important that the attorneys over the country have a basic understanding of self-defense laws and firearms laws in their states.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, what are you doing at the end of August? Skinny Medic's coming to Colorado. We're going to do a joint medical class. Maybe we have you come out and do a seminar as well.
I think that'd be perfect.
All right, I'll talk to you after the show. But yeah,
when you going to come visit me yet?
No, I can't even go home. Governor Wolf in Pennsylvania is going to arrest me if I cross the border. So I
shoot him.
Why I'm in that end of the state. Well, I do have to come and see you. I want to shop that huge selection of firearms.
Yeah, I want that left-handed bolt action.
I mean, I will sell you a left-handed bolt action rifle. It wasn't involved in a suicide though.
My daughter's left-handed, so that I have an excuse to buy it.
I need to post the suicide rifle, so I want to trade it for a four-wheeler. I need to post it. I'll be like, no low ball offers. I know what I have. All right. Anyway, yeah, go check out Second Call Defense. I wanted to get Sean. Like, go at that link I gave you. Sign up for more Wednesdays, man. We miss you.
All right. Hey, whenever you want me, or I'll just start signing up, and if you'll take me, I'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Always a good time. Everyone out there, go check them out. And check out Patriot Patch Company as well, patriotpatch.co. Patch of the Month Club is life. Coupon code WLS10 saves you money. That's going to do it for the show. Join a gun-related advocacy group, Firearms Policy Coalition, Guns of America, Second Amendment Foundation, all good ones, but get involved. Like yourself, get involved locally, whether it's writing a letter, whether it's showing up at the Capitol with other like-minded 2A individuals. Like I was watching a thing by Tim Pool today, and he's just talking about, he's like, the silent majority. Like, it's kind of past the time. We just sit there and we let things happen, and we're just like, just leave me alone. Like the protesters, just leave me alone. The rioters, just leave me alone. Like, don't want to be bothered. It's almost time for that not to happen anymore. Like, we have to get involved or we're going to lose everything. So do that. Suicide prevention line number is 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-TALK. And, or you can text a message to 741-741. And as we always say, we're live every week on Monday and Wednesday, on demand every single day. Go to WeLikeShooting.com/show for all the places that you can subscribe. And as we always say, thanks for listening. Get some medical training. And, Nick, you say it.
That Sean Maloney ain't no baloney.
He's no phony.
That Sean Maloney?
No. So should we name the episode Black Rhino Consolement?
Yes.
Okay, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Might as well.
Actually, I'm glad I saw that because I need a new holster. I broke 3 of my Kydex holsters like in the past, I think, 4 weeks. Every time I get it, and I'm a passenger in my buddy's truck, when I sit down, my fat ass down, it always, the Kydex clip hits the armrest and just snaps the whole thing to pieces.
Oh, Jesus. That's awful.
I know. I'm down to wearing a outside the waistband Serpa holster.
Oh, holy
Can
shit.
you take Aaron's place every week? It's so much more fun.
Yeah, what happened to Aaron? Like, I missed it.
He was falling asleep, I think.
What a head. Take a f***ing nap.
What's your wife's name?
Yvonne.
What? We're still on the air.
I don't care.
I know.
Her name's Yvonne.
Okay, now we're off the air.
All right.
Did you think that show was worth $1? Help the cast by visiting lovewls.com.